If I ask your founder what the company vision is, and they say something to me like, to increase our market share by 20%, that is not a vision, not even close. That is a revenue target. A vision is something that people believe in. A vision is something that people will sacrifice for. A vision is something that anyone in your sphere, your stakeholders, your community can join in and help you co-author that story. But if your company doesn't know the story that it's helping to tell, or where it's going, or even why it exists, then no marketing campaign, no rebrand, no sales funnel, no nothing is going to save you. So where do we start, Rain? We start at the very top. And luckily for you, that's exactly what we're going to talk about in today's episode. Welcome to the Storytelling Lab, where we break down the art and science of storytelling. My name is Bennett. I am your host, and I'm a filmmaker and an author on a quest to understand how we can tell better stories so that we can do better work and make the world a better place. Each episode, I host one of the world's best storytellers to help you understand how to leverage storytelling to increase your sales, deepen your connections, and serve your audiences better. What's up, storytellers? Welcome back to the Storytelling Lab podcast. This is episode 216, and today we're going to talk about vision. If you remember back in episode 210, where we talked about the narrative operating system, this is your narrative North Star. The whole beauty of the narrative operating system is that it starts at the top and it cascades all the way down through every department of your business. But that all starts with your guiding light, your true north, your narrative North Star, which is your vision. That's what we're going to talk about today. And if you do this work up front, it makes the work of keeping your narrative, your brand narrative, and all the stories that you tell cohesive and in the same voice and serving the same purpose. It makes that job so much easier. And if you don't do that, all the different departments and all the different individuals on your team will be disconnected. They will be misaligned, and they will revert back to doing what works for them or has worked for them in the past. And that is not necessarily what works best for your brand and what you are trying to accomplish. So how do you do that? How do you live by this guiding principle? You have to craft it first. You have to be intentional about it. Now, some businesses have vision statements, and some have mission statements, and some have both, and some have neither. Many of them conflate the two. They're not sure which is which one comes first, and yada, yada, yada. The way we're going to approach this with the narrative operating system is we're going to start with your vision, which is the top part of that narrative operating system. In other words, a vision is where you're going. It's where you're going. What is the future that you want to see or help build? Mission is how you're going to get there. That's the way I like to explain it. But if we're going to put it in storytelling terms, mission is the plot, is the sequence of events that leads to where you're going. But your vision is the overall genre, the universal theme that the story is about, the big idea, the big picture of your story. That's your vision. But you have to have those logical, sequential steps that take place to accomplish that vision. That is your mission, and that's why I approach them from that order. So that's the first thing you need to know is first we need our aspirational vision. We're going to talk about exactly how to do that, and we're going to finish this episode with two case studies, one big and one small, about brands that live by their visions. Okay, so we understand the difference between vision and mission. Visions should inspire belief, but mission should inspire action. We're going to talk about that next time I have a solo episode. So the best example that I have seen of articulating exactly what makes a great vision comes from Simon Sinek. If you don't know Simon Sinek, he is the author of Start With Why and Leaders Eat Last and The Infinite Game. And his definition, he actually calls a vision a just cause, because it has to be a cause so just that you are willing to sacrifice for it. And that means sacrificing your time. It could be sacrificing a client that might not be aligned with your vision, sacrificing anything. It means being able to stand on business, to put your foot down and say, no, this is our value. This is what we stand for, and our actions are going to show that. And by the way, quick tangent, that's exactly how you show a great character in a story. You can't tell us what type of person they are. You have to show us by their actions, by the choices and decisions they make. And guess what, team? It's the same thing in life. You can't tell somebody that you're a great person or that you care about the homeless. You have to show us by your actions who you are and what you care about. It's the same thing with your brand. You have to show us with your actions. So I love that phrase just cause, but the definition that Simon uses for a great vision, or a just cause as he calls it, is it's an affirmative statement of a future state that doesn't yet exist, the future world, the story that you want to tell, that you will commit your business to help build. So your vision informs and influences everything that you do, from the small daily tasks to the quarterly goals to the yearly campaigns, etc. We are trying to get to that future state. We're trying to write that story, and we are going to commit our business to doing it. Now, Simon goes on and says that a great vision, a great just cause statement or guiding principle, as I said, has 3 distinct parts. This is going to be very helpful, so get your pencils and notepads ready. The first thing that your vision must be is resilient. That means it must have a constitution that stands the test of time. That means it can't be tied to a certain technology, because technologies change and evolve. It can't be tied to a certain product or service that you offer, because that may change. Think about Blockbuster versus Netflix. It can't be tied to anything that is happening only in this moment. Think about all of the face mask companies that came up during the coronavirus pandemic. Now, they may have made a quick buck, for sure. I know some of them, in fact, did. But where are those companies now? They're gone, right? That's just a quick cash grab. And any business that wants to exist with this storytelling strategy, this relationship building, trust building vision, is about longevity. That's the whole point of this approach and this strategy, is sustainability and longevity. To do that, you have to be able to evolve. And to do that, you can't have a vision that is tied to something, that is anchored to something that will change, okay? We will show some examples of that in the future, but that is the first thing. It must be able to weather any storm. Things happen all the time. If your vision is clear enough, even the global coronavirus pandemic of 2020 and 2021 shouldn't knock it off track. You may have to figure out a new mission to accomplish that vision, but your vision should not crumble because of some curveball or some obstacle that comes along, because what are stories if nothing but constant obstacles that we must overcome? The second thing a great vision must have is it must be inclusive, okay? It must allow others to join in the story that you are telling. This whole thing is a relationship, and it's reciprocal. Your people, your community, your clients, your customers, your stakeholders should all be a part of this. They should be able to join in. That's how you build this brand loyalty and brand advocates and fanatics and evangelists, just like someone who's a super fan of a TV show. That's the kind of connection you want with them, right? They will tell others all about you because what you stand for is what they stand for. Their identity is connected to yours. And if you just have a vision that I can't picture myself in helping, then I don't have that connection to the purchase, that the decision I make to purchase with you. Okay, now I may still make that purchase one time, like the mask I needed in 2020, but I'm not going to think about you in 2024 or 2025, or certainly not beyond that. It needs to be a just cause, as Simon Sinek says, that I can see myself in, a story I can see myself in too. And when you do that, here's why that's so important. Your people, the people, will start to tell your story for you. Okay, this is how you compound when it comes to brand awareness, brand recognition, and brand advocacy. You can't do all the storytelling yourself. So that's why you have to leave space for them to be a part of your story, so they want to tell it for you. And the third thing that your vision must have is it must be service-oriented, Simon Sinek says. In any exchange or transaction or even relationship, there is a contributor and a benefactor. Okay, so if I'm taking a call, I just had a call before I recorded this of someone who needed a little bit of guidance in their speaking career. In that exchange, I was the contributor, contributing advice and knowledge and lessons learned in my experience, and that person was the benefactor. They benefited from that. Now, it's not mutually exclusive with us being in another exchange and them being the contributor to my benefit. Okay, but in that moment, I was the contributor, they were the benefactor. Okay, so any great vision should be service-oriented. That means it's not about your monthly targets. It's not about you being the number one company in X industry. Okay, that is not contributing to someone else's benefit. That is only benefiting you, benefiting us. That is self-focused, and that is not a great vision because, again, back to number 2, who would want to take part in that story where I'm just lining your pockets? Now, sadly, that is one of the ones that many big companies and corporations get wrong, which is why there's this distaste that we're seeing, which is why we, the consumers, are longing for that connection and that attachment to the stories of the brands that we want to support, because we're sick of giving our money to people who don't care about us or care about anything else that we care about. We're sick of it, right? So it must be service oriented. That doesn't mean that success is not a goal of yours, but success for what reason? That is a service oriented vision. That is what you need to craft. Resilient, inclusive, and service oriented. Give your vision after you listen to this episode. Give it that test. Run it through those 3 lines. And are you successfully crafting a vision that checks those 3 boxes? If not, you need to rework it. Okay, so let's talk about some case studies before we go. The first one, and I use this example in the book, The Chief Storytelling Officer, coming out in 2026, Patagonia. Patagonia has been well known for putting their values out there very, very much. Also, I love the content that they create. They are one of the brands that creates original content. They create beautiful, beautiful documentaries. But a long, long time ago, now they've always been environmentally conscious and conservation conscious. This has always been a big part of their values. But I'm going to read you their old vision statement, and then I'll read what it is now. Their old one was, our vision is to build the best product, cause no unnecessary harm, and use business to inspire and implement solutions to the environmental crisis. Whew. First of all, your vision should be clear and clearly understood and simple, right? This is what stories are too. You got to pretend like you're telling it to a 5th grader or maybe even younger. Keep it simple. This is way too convoluted, way too wordy. I don't understand exactly what it's saying. Now, this is a huge issue with businesses. They try to sound either too clever or they try to inform too much to stand out, and that actually makes it more confusing. They try to add too much detail, and it has the opposite effect. It makes it more confusing. Build the best product, cause no unnecessary harm. Okay, that's pretty simple. And use business to inspire and implement solutions to the environmental crisis. Okay, so it's not clear because what does that mean to use business to inspire and implement solutions to the environmental crisis? I mean, I get what they're trying to say. I just don't know how my actions today would contribute to that aspirational vision. Okay, build the best product. Okay, sure, but best is vague. What does that mean? If I build a product today, how do I know it's the best? Is it good enough? Like, how do I even measure that if I've built the best product? Build the best product we can? Okay, try hard. I get that. But again, how will I know? Cause no unnecessary harm? What is necessary harm? Where's the line between that, okay? Again, this isn't terrible. It's just really convoluted and hard to follow. They changed it to, we're in business to save our home planet. You remember part 3 of Simon Sinek's three check boxes for your vision statement? It must be service-oriented. We're in business to save our home planet. Who is the benefactor? Our home planet, and therefore all of us that live on that planet, right? But this is simple enough that I understand it. If I work for the business, or if I'm a consumer, a customer buying from that business, we're in business to save the home planet. That's a story, going back to number 2 from Simon Sinek, that I can picture myself in. I also want to save our home planet. I don't know about build the best product and use business to implement solutions to the environmental crisis, but I want to support a business that's trying to save our home planet. Also, it helps you understand and determine every step that you're taking. Is this getting us closer to saving our home planet? Now, how they show up to pursue that very aspirational vision is things like they had this famous ad in the New York Times years and years ago with one of their famous jackets. And it said, do not buy this jacket, which was insane. It was on Black Friday. Like, people were like, why are you taking out a full page ad in the New York Times saying don't buy your product? Well, because, remember, you have to stand on business. You have to be willing to sacrifice for your vision. Then it started informing their product decisions because they hadn't been putting the amount of attention into repairability that they needed to create longevity and help save our planet by making their products more durable and easier to repair. So now your vision is influencing and informing your product design, not just your marketing campaigns. And you tell people, oh, we're trying to save the home planet. We make videos about the whales. No, you're living by it. You're changing your whole product to live by that mission. They also went completely transparent for their supply line. They understood every part of the process, where every little piece is coming from, and they were open and public about that. Now you're changing all of your operations to carry out that vision. That's how you live by a vision, that aspirational, through everything that you do. Marketing, product, branding, sales, all of it. When we talk about a great vision, it's easy to picture a big company like Patagonia. Plus, they've got the money to, donate to good causes and make these cool films. But what about just like a local company that has a few employees? Well, I've got a great example for you. My daughter's soccer program, her after-school program, is called the People's Game. It was created by Kingsley MacLeod, and their vision is their everything, and it is why she, my daughter, and I keep coming back to this program, because of what they really stand for. Now, what they do is they teach soccer skills, but why they do it is because they're trying to create good humans. Their values are trust, respect, and responsibility. In everything they do, in their skills training, they are constantly reinforcing those values. They stop in the middle of their sessions and ask, how did that decision showcase respect, responsibility, or trust? And they might answer, and these are like 7-year-olds, well, I trusted my teammate to finish, so I made that pass. Or I respected the other team, so I didn't get upset when I got fouled. And what Kingsley and his team have seen is a direct translation from the pitch, the soccer field, into the classroom. And what parents like me of the organization have seen is the translation of that into the home. He is trying to create a good community organization through soccer. He wants to make great players, but he also understands that most of them aren't going to go to college, let alone the pros. So this is just his inlet to really building a community organization that lives by these values. They also have, one of my favorite parts about this program is they have a mindfulness practice. They will stop and they will work on breathing techniques, and they will work on tapping in and being mindful about their choices and their emotions and their thoughts, because when you play sports, emotions run high. If you get fouled or if you miss a shot, you can get upset. This is what they need to work on. And this is what they do work on if they participate in the People's Game. And I've seen my daughter in my house do a 5-finger breathing technique, which, apologies, I don't remember exactly what it is right now, but she was worked up and upset. And I said, what did the People's Game teach you? And she applied it. We were standing in the bathroom and she applied it in that moment, and it brought her back down. I saw it in action through the mindfulness practice, through the values of respect, responsibility, and trust that the People's Game imparts onto their children. Let's put it through the test. It's resilient. It doesn't depend on wins or losses or how many people you have or even the game that they're teaching. It can expand. It could be multiple sports in the future. It could be a league. It could be anything. It could evolve because that vision is simple and it's grounded in something that is resilient. 2, it's obviously inclusive. It includes all of the players, any kid, any ability, because it's not about skill. But guess what? It also includes their parents and their teachers. We were invited to their showcase. We get updates from them. We're a part of the journey too. And 3, it is absolutely service oriented. Kingsley told me I want this to be a community organization, not a soccer program per se. I want it to feel like a community organization. They are absolutely giving back to the community of Durham, North Carolina. And I, for one, am very grateful for them for doing that. But the best part about this is people might say, well, sure, that sounds great, but what about the bottom line? Because it's a business and you have to be successful, right? Well, in 2023, I believe, when the People's Game started, they had 1 to 3 employees. Now they have 13. They had, I believe, 8 students in their first camp. Now they are in 3 full-time schools for after-school programs with at least 24 kids in each program. They are serving 100 families in this community in just a couple of years. That is exponential growth. exponential growth because they have clearly articulated their values and their vision, and they stand by it. Okay, so now I want you to take what you've heard today and I want you to apply it to your own business. This could be your personal brand, your nonprofit organization, or your corporation. It's the same. Your vision is not your goal. It's what your goals serve. What is the future story that you're trying to craft? What is your reason for doing this besides making $1 and paying for your bills? You could choose any business to do that. Why did you choose this? What's the real change you're trying to affect on the world or your community in the world? Ask yourself, is it clear? Is it easy to understand? Is it resilient? Is it inclusive? Is it service-oriented? Put yourself through this test. Look at yourself in the mirror and make sure that you understand this because, as I said in the beginning, it influences and informs all of the decisions that you make underneath that mountain that this narrative operating system cascades down. This is the peak. This is very important. This is everything. And lastly, if you can't explain your vision without mentioning your product, then you need to make a better vision. Think about this the next time we meet together. We're going to talk about mission, not just where we're going, but how we're going to get there. In the meantime, think about the story that you are telling. Think about the story that you are inviting people into, and we'll see you next time on the Storytelling Lab. My name is Rain Bennett. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed that episode, do us a favor and subscribe to the podcast. If you're already a subscriber and you're enjoying the show, give us a review and let us know the value that you've gotten from it. We love to hear from our listeners and learn about the benefits that they're getting from the show. That's what fuels us, and that's what fuels the show. And if you've already subscribed and you've already reviewed it and you think there's someone else that would benefit from listening to this show, please share it with them. The more we grow, the more we can help you grow, and that's what we're here to do. Join us next time on the Storytelling Lab.